Thank you so much, and thank you to Omar and the panelists. Appreciate you. So we're going to hear from Sapna from the Center of Asian American Media, and then she's going to tell you a lot about their work, including CamFest later this year in the spring. So please welcome Sapna.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I won't take too much of your time. I'm Sapna. Thank you so much, Sue. I'm the Talent Development and Special Projects Director at the Center for Asian American Media. Thank you. Better known as CAM. CAM is about a 45-year-old organization, a little younger than me. And we're a national nonprofit organization based in San Francisco. We support storytellers like you all through fellowship, through funding, and we also have an annual film festival that Sue mentioned called CamFest, and it's May 7th to the 10th. And you all should come if you can, or submit your films. We're extremely privileged to have the support of the Doris Duke Foundation for our Building Bridges program, our documentary fund in particular. And over the last couple of years, we've been able to support over 30 films and filmmakers. So we're really excited about that. And we have a film here at the festival called American Doctor, which I hope everyone gets a chance to watch. Poe is here at the festival along with several of our Building Bridges fundees. Please reach out to them. Several of them have been really great in asking questions. I hope you meet them. They're all really brilliant. And they really make our work meaningful and inspiring. Thank you so much to Sue and MPAC for creating this incredibly beautiful space here at Muslim House. Many people have said this, but honestly, this is a rare space at a festival. At this very cold festival, it feels like a really nice warm hug. So thank you so much, Sue and everyone at MPAC. Finally, thank you so much to our Building Bridges partners, the Sundance Institute, the Islamic Scholarship Fund, and all of the storytellers for making our work truly inspirational. It really serves as, the inspiration we need to keep moving forward in this time. So thank you so much.
Congratulations on everything, American Doctor, your CamFest, and I'm going to try to make it this year, God willing. So I have the honor to introduce a dear friend of mine, Iman Zawahri, who has been doing wonderful work on her creatively, like her personal work is being like a director, producer. She just finished Abbott Elementary, which will air when? Valentine. So she directed. You sell yourself short. Okay, she didn't direct it. She was associate director. She produced it. She was the executive producer. I'd like to welcome Iman, the creator of Abbott Elementary. Look. She's doing incredible work. She has a feature that she's actually looking to make and is talking to some real good people here at the Sundance Film Festivals to move it forward. It's called Lady Balls, and people have asked her to change the title, and I'm like, don't you change the title. So that's her on a personal level, creative level. She is the director of Islamic Scholarship Fund, a wonderful organization that is the first organization to ever fund creatives and filmmakers in the entertainment industry. They're going on 15, 16, 17 years almost. Again, when it wasn't cool to support, filmmaking because it was like a taboo industry or whatever, there you were. So thank you for that. Iman will be introducing, we'll say a few words and we'll be introducing the next panel. The president of the Academy, Iman.
That was good. That's like sweet comedy. Good job. Sue the comedian. Hi, assalamu alaikum, everyone. So my name is Iman Zohri, as Sue has said, and I'm the director of film programs at the Islamic Scholarship Fund. And so I say this every time I'm in this space, and we're in this space, thankfully, has been a good amount of time, thanks to Doris Duke and MPAC. But truly, like back in the day, when we were just starting out, like people like Omar and Asif, I would never believe that a space like this existed, and I'm still kind of pinching myself every time I see it, that this space exists. A space centered for Muslim filmmakers and storytellers, where we don't have to explain ourselves, but we're just creating. So, yet, alhamdulillah, we are here. So I want to tell you a little bit about ISF. So ISF was founded in 2009 with the mission to change public policy and public opinion about American Muslims. So we support 4 verticals: film, which is the best vertical, and media, policy, and law, which of course they do so much change on the Hill. But I'm still like, what's up with film? Best one over here. And to date, ISF has awarded $3.9 million to 763 recipients and change makers. I share this part personally because I was actually, my age, ISF's first scholarship recipient. And in 2013, ISF asked me a question: how can we better support filmmakers? And at the time, I was working on my first feature and feeling that our community really didn't show up for the artists, as we know, but now they do, because look at this place. So we built what didn't exist. So in 2013, we launched the first American Muslim Film Grant. And today, ISF has supported over 200 American Muslim filmmakers, the largest ecosystem of its kind in the nation, and honestly, I think the world for American Muslims. I'm just going to go ahead and take that as the president of the Academy. We've awarded over $1 million directly towards filmmakers. Yes! But more importantly, we've created a cycle of care, from scholarship to film school, to production grants, to mentorship, to networking, to festivals like this, to fellowships like the one that we're here today with the Building Bridges Fellowship in partnership with Sundance, and the generous support, of course, of the Doris Duke Foundation. And so that really brings me to the gratitude, because, of course, none of this happens alone. Community is what really drives us. So to our family, our Ohana, Maureen, our queen, Doris Duke, with Alicia, Tessa, Will, and now Zeki, who's still trying to prove that he's cool to me, but the entire Doris Duke family, thank you for believing deeply in this material work. We really appreciate it. And of course, to our incredible partners at CAM, Dawn, Sapna, and Layla, thank you for being collaborators in the truest sense of the form. Like, they're the best people around. And of course, to the MPAC Hollywood Bureau, Sue, who is literally we just are constantly standing on her shoulders as we're crushing her as she's coming down, like at all the time, always making space, being super generous, and never flinching when I'm constantly pushing her over and over for Muslim filmmakers. But why not more, Sue? Why not more? And of course, the people in the deep weeds, our partners at Sundance, Emma and Heinel, I don't think they're here. They're the most amazing in supporting, uplifting the filmmakers. So as we heard in yesterday's beautiful panels and the opening remarks that we've heard that have grounded us, we're no longer just building this space, we are established. Our stories are here, they are loud, they are nuanced, and they are unapologetically ours. We will continue to shout through this lens with care, with rigor, with joy, and with truth. So thank you so much for being here, thank you for believing, and thank you for making this space possible. So with that, ISF has curated 2 separate panels, one that you're going to see today, and then a watch party. So a big part of what we do as the filmmakers at ISF is our stories are not often platformed. So we make sure that we platform them here in these Muslim houses in the watch party so you can see them. So we are now I'm going to introduce my partner, the amazing Aiza Fatma, who's the artist and partnership manager at ISF, and also a multi-hyphenated writer, director, actor, producer, and comedian, as you just saw. So give it up for Aiza Fatma.
Thank you, Iman. Before I turn to the panel conversation, can we all just agree that Sue should have a career in comedy? It's just so natural. But do you guys know her superpower? She's an amazing voice actor. It's hot. Her voice is so hot. I mean, it's good. You can Google it. You can listen to her demo. She's amazing. She's amazing. Okay, but back to this panel, you guys. So because we are a film organization, we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to show you clips of our panelists to introduce them. So the first panelist is actually an ISF filmmaker. We are so proud of him. He premiered his feature film here at Sundance on opening day. It's called Hanging by a Wire. Everybody should go watch it. It's amazing. We're going to show you a clip from it before I welcome him to the stage. Can we roll that first clip, please?
8 people, including 6 children, are trapped inside a cable car in the Pakistani Himalayas after one of its mile-long cables snapped.
The fate of those 8 people is relying on that one single cable. It was terrible. They are going to die.
Welcome to the stage, Mo Naqvi, please. Amazing. Okay, so this next person I'm going to introduce you now is, I don't need to tell you anything. We're just going to roll the clip. You'll see. You'll see what's happening. Please welcome to the stage Ruhi Mirza Pandya. She wanted me to tell you, her 17-year-old made that, you guys. A little boom clubby. Which I love. I love that video. That was amazing. And Ruhi does a lot, and we're going to hear all about it today. Okay, so this next person honestly needs no introduction because we know her, but we're going to roll this clip and watch her amazing work.
My name is Effie Brown, and I'm a film and television producer. I have always been drawn to stories about the other, being a little black girl growing up in Fort Dix, New Jersey. I'm wanting to do inclusive genre, thriller, action, sci-fi, horror, but with women, people of color, LGBTQIA, and people with disabilities in front of and behind the scene. Why I do it is because I think that we need to be heard, and I think that the world can be saved through stories. Like, it sounds super simple, but I really and honestly believe that we can solve the world problems through storytelling. Once you humanize each other in a story, it's harder for you to rape them, it's harder for you to murder them, it's harder for you to keep them in poverty. You start to see them, the others, as yourself.
Welcome to the stage, Effie Brown. Our next panelist is, we've just mentioned this film throughout the whole time we've been here. He's done many amazing things, including is an EP on the voice of Hind Rajab. So we are going to roll that clip now.
لكن تضغطيه وما تحاولي ما تنزفيش يعني حاولي انك تسكري الجرم.
تمام السيارة جاية.
الو طوارئ هلال الاحمر رام الله الضفة الغربية عمر معك تفضل. الو شو اسمك انت؟
انا مولودة حمادة. كنا تمام تكتيني. ماما غيرت حالي.
مهدي احتمال احتاج سيارة إسعاف.
عمر حبيبي احنا مجبورين نأمن له مسلك آمن.
إذا ما فيش معها وقت.
شايف هدول يا شاب؟ خسرناهم كلهم.
8 دقايق ممكن تكلفهم حياتهم إذا ما عملناش التنسيق وعمارة.
They are shooting at a car with a little girl inside. Can you imagine that? So do something. انت في التمهيدي؟ هند احنا جايين ناخدك احنا.
كل ده مأمن فيني. انا بكون موجودة عايزة
بس لسه في فضا، لسه معنا وقت.
And the film is up for an Oscar. In case you guys didn't know, we're going to talk more about that. It's amazing work. Okay, I want to talk first, actually, to Mo about his amazing film that premiered at Sundance just a few days ago, but also give a shout out
to my partner in crime, Bilal Sami, the producer of the film. Bilal, please stand up.
Yeah.
Thank you. He's been with us since day one of this journey, and
yeah, and Bilal, so something really interesting, when Mo was telling me about this film, this is really funny. We happened to be both in Pakistan for different things when you were shooting this film, and I was like, Mo, let's hang out. I was there for work, but Mo was very busy doing this up in the Himalayas. And I know he was telling me about this film, and he's like, it's a thriller, it's shot in Pakistan. These kids are like, it's a documentary. I'm like, no, it's not. It's none of those. What are you talking about? Thriller, documentary? I couldn't conceive of it until I saw it. And it is a thriller documentary, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then, I mean, the footage, when you see it, they have all this amazing drones footage, right? Which it wouldn't have happened if, like, Bilal went out and found this local guy who was, like, using the drone. I mean, it's an amazing journey of this whole film, how you guys have put it all together. If you guys haven't seen it, you definitely should. But my question to you is, Mo, that your earlier work was, a lot of it was about, like, this post 9/11, the war on terror, right? How is this film for you a departure, and why?
You know, to be honest, I don't think it's a departure. It's a natural evolution, and it's actually very much consistent with my through line, which is to always challenge authority. And when I first got started, I graduated college, I moved to New York, and that is when I started my first project that I ever did, was a film called Terrorist Children. Title is horrible, it was never my decision. Because at that time, there was this immense Islamophobia. The media was completely insane. And I had this small chance to at least tell stories from my neck of the woods, but in a much more honest and measured way. And those kinds of stories were certainly important to me because I grew up in Pakistan, and I'm an immigrant when I was, in America at that time. And I was in the center of a lot of sectarian violence. And there was the nuances of like where Islam was politicized and used, and so I'm like, yeah, I do want to expose that. But of course, when you take that out of that context and make it in a global thing, then you can definitely see the larger news organizations or film people, whatever, kind of framing it in a more, no, all Muslims are bad. They don't have that nuances.
The nuances always, yeah.
And so it almost was necessary for me to jump in and take those stories because and actually shed more nuance and honesty to them. And so that's what I did. And with this film, one thing was very, very clear. This is 25 years on. I'm done explaining myself to these people. I am so thrilled with this film. I love all my films, but God, I love this film.
I do too.
When I made it, I felt like a 20-year-old. I don't know how to explain. Just the pure joy of filmmaking. making this beast. Oh my God. And it was a full community film in the sense that the majority of our footage is from the actual community. You guys, this story takes place in the Himalayan foothills in this really isolated village that barely has roads, has nothing. But they all have Instagram and they all have TikTok. And they knew that if they call the authorities, no one's going to listen to them. But if they're going to start posting on social media, then people will start listening to them. And so when they engaged me and Bilal and the rest of our crew to go on this journey, they're like, we want to live and tell our story beyond the news cycle. I'm like, I'm going to make that happen for you guys. And so that's why I did this. And going back to your original thing, the documentary ecosystem, especially if you're from, and I hate this word, the global south, means you make victim stories, poverty stories, and you explain yourself, and you can't make fun action thrillers, and you can't be happy, can't have happy endings, you know? So I was like, F that. And I deliberately chose a genre which was leaning hard into Hollywood. My inspiration for this film was Goonies, Cliffhanger, Die Hard. And doing that was subversive, because how dare I, a brown whatever filmmaker, lean and make stories like that rather than, you know, capitulate to a Western Orientalist gaze. And so, yeah, so that's what I have to say about that. Thank you.
You do all of that because the film really centers these like bearded men in a village who are just saying they love their children. It's an image I have never seen before.
Very radical.
Very radical. It is very radical. And then the lead is this Muslim woman in a hijab who is the head of police, who is dealing with the case. Again, things we have never seen before.
Yeah, so it's all told from the vantage point of the rescuers. One of the rescuers, it's a group of people, but they're led by this head of police who's a woman who wears a hijab. And I don't talk about the fact that she wears a hijab. And I don't talk about the fact, how come she's a woman and she became the head of police in this picture? And she's fun, and she loves her job, and she's really good at it. And she's a hard ass. And would I be expected to explain all these things if this cable car was in Boulder, Colorado? No, I wouldn't. So I'm not gonna. So fuck you.
On that note, I want to talk to Ruhi. So Ruhi is somebody I've known for a long time from the theater world. Actually, and Ruhi, even before I did theater, was doing theater. I mean, Ruhi had a company in New York City that was doing South Asian theater, very specifically, at a time when nobody was doing that. And so from the theater to film, I mean, your career, you guys all saw 500 plus films released with studios, outside of the studio systems, all the things. And Ruhi, you did something really remarkable. Like 20 years ago, you made a film that was set in the South Asian world that centered mental health, which was unheard of in our community to talk about those things, right? So from that to like now Box Office Guru, like talk to me about that evolution, like from theater to film to Box Office Guru, and like the kinds of films you're currently involved with. Like what has that journey been like?
Thank you. I just wanted to thank everyone. I wanted to thank Sue and Isa and Iman for having me on this panel, and the Muslim House. I think this is a wonderful experience. And yeah, the career has been a long career. I've been around for 25 years. My sister is a playwright and a screenwriter, so I started off really producing her work. That film that you refer is called Hiding Divya, with the legend Madhur Jaffrey. She plays the lead, the mother that had bipolar, and she's amazing in it. But 20 years ago, no one really wanted to see that.
Not from our community. They're like, why aren't you talking about your trauma?
Yes.
Why are you, you know?
Yeah. And for me, I think that, like Mo, I want to see complex stories made, complex characters, especially in the Muslim community. For me, that's really, really important. And that's why I recently, like the last couple of years, formed a film collective called Rasa. And what we, you know, for me, my Venn diagram has always been female protagonists, Muslims portrayed in a positive or complex role, and some sort of social messaging. If if a film has all three of those things, I'm in. I'm like, that's the type of thing I want to be producing. And so, yeah, I mean, with Box Office Guru, we've been doing that for 25 years. That's what puts food on the table. It's marketing work that we do for South Asian films in North America. So our first film was 25 years ago. My husband's here, Gitesh Pandya, in the audience, filming me. He joined the Academy, I guess, a couple of years ago. So we've been expanding our work and doing Oscar campaigns as well. Yeah, so we're in the marketing branch. And we're just super excited of what the landscape looks these days. Right now, we vote in the Best International category, feature category, and 3 of the 5 films are made in Muslim countries, guys. So, super, super excited for the future of films, of South Asian films as well as Muslim films. We worked on, with Neon, with It's Just an Accident. We're currently working on the Iraq film President's Cake. All great films, guys. Go out and see foreign films. They're really good. I think that we'll start working with Watermelon Pictures soon because they're, I think all these, I see the future being very bright. Like from 25 years ago, it was really tough. Our first film was Mira Nair's Monsoon Wedding. Yeah. We worked with USA Pictures, now Focus Features. But we worked on all the Mira's films. We've worked on just so many films over the years. And you see the difference. Like, I think that we're expanding and we're doing different kinds of stories, and that's what the stuff that I want to be doing. So, did I answer your question?
You did, but also, now I want the inside scoop. Which international film are you guys going to be voting for?
No, we can't.
No, you can't tell us. You can't tell us. Okay, fine. We have ideas for you. Yeah, we all have some ideas. That's amazing. Thank you. Yeah, you totally did. Great. Okay, I want to move to Effie now. Effie, I first became aware of your work. I mean, when you did, this is silly because you had a whole career before this, but I didn't know about you until Dear White People.
Oh, that was something else. Okay, great.
No,
okay,
it was Dear White People.
I know, I was like,
well, no,
okay,
but
great.
then there's also the famous Claire from Project Greenlight. We're going to skip over that part.
It was great. I like it. Good job.
No, it was Dear White People. It was great. But then I realized there's another film that you made 10 years before that was also one of my most favorite films ever. I just didn't know you had produced it. Real Women Have Curves.
Yeah.
Yes, producer. She does all the things. It's amazing. I want to talk to you about, like, what do you think, like, between those two films, what was the thing that you put on stage that was, like, radical? And how are those films, like, in conversation with each other? And what do you think is kind of, like, still missing from the representation landscape today? I mean, you did that so long ago, it was like...
Maybe like a has-been. I'm like, okay, I'm just messing with you.
No, it's
amazing. I'm kidding. No, that's a really good question. I was like, oh, I have to sound smart. I was like, as smart as that question. So, from doing Real Women Have Curves into doing Dear White People, I think the things that, first of all, I just want to say, can I just say how happy I am to be here, to be invited here? No, like straight up, I love that you guys have a Muslim house. I'm glad that I was invited, and I want to be invited again, so I'm going to try not to mess up. Okay, great. So I'm like, okay, I've got it, don't mess it up. But those things, those two movies, and I'm going to just sort of open it up to, like, all of my films have something in common, which is about, we can call it a marginalized person or community. And for me, it was like, that was my world, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm saying if women, people of color, LGBTQ+, and people with disability, that's what I see every day. And I've been around a little longer than the 25 years, but I'm not going to go into much because I'm still trying to pass for my 30s. But I was coming back in, starting out, realizing that, like, there were no, like, black people. We were drug dealers, hookers, those sorts of things. And I was like, that's not my experience. And then looking at the experience of, like, what other folks are, like, we get typecast really easy. And for me, I'm like, I want to do something for us and about us. Like, my company, I have a company called Game Changer Films. And basically, our theme is, you can't make something about us without us. And so, and as there are a lot of times, I'm sure we're going to get into it, and I'm going a little all over the place, but I'm going to land back soon, I think, is that people tell our stories that aren't of our culture, right? And then and for me, I know I'm in the position, I came up as a line producer to producer, and being outside the system, I got to know all the fabulous people that had stories that were a little different than the so-called dominant culture, even though we're, the dominant culture. But we were able to come together and to make films like Women Have Curves, Stranger Inside, Cheryl Junier, you have Dear White People, and The Inspection that we just co-financed with A24. So anyway, so the correlation between that is you can't make something about us without us. The representation is behind the screen as well as in front, and it's good to do things that reflect our reality and not what they think, like Mo was saying, our reality is.
How do you kind of fix these gaps that still do exist in representation? Let's be real, right?
Well, I love the fact that you are positive. There you go. I'm going to try to live on that. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to say, and I'm sure we're going to get into it, but I think right now we're at a critical point. Like a couple years ago, it was cool to be Black and, or a person of color. Now it's sort of, we call it the blacklash that has happened, right? Like no one's trying to feel us right now. But we feel us. So one of the things I was really excited about coming here is coming together, building a community, and not just a community and talking, but a community with resources and coming together to make something happen. Because I do feel, with love in my heart, the white boy, I'm gonna say it, we're all together. You know what I mean? Like we all here together. We all here, right? You know what I mean? But the white boys, like who are in the studio system, they're having a tough time. And when they have a tough time, we have a tougher time. But if we all come together, then that's how we're gonna make it. And nothing's cool until we lay our hands on it. You know that, right? You know what I mean? It's true. Anyway, I'm not gonna go into that because we're being filmed. But come see me after. But anyway, like for us, I think it's a coming together. And I do think things are constricting more. So being with one another and helping one another. Like we're hopefully gonna work together. Like we're working together. Like we're trying to, make things happen. But they're coming for all of us. Sorry, I was trying to be positive. Sorry, I'm not.
No, this is real, truth.
It's real. There's definitely real problems, definitely, but I like to think that our community is going to back us. I think that
community is going to back us.
But not the white boy, definitely.
I think it's a different world, but I'm just saying that when I realize, and you help me out to say it a bit more articulately, hopefully, there's more of us than them. And when I say, and I'm saying collectively, and I think that's what they're afraid of, whoever that they is, but that to me is like, I think when we come together, that is power. And I think telling our stories, like I'm telling, we'll go into like, I'll start pitching my own story later, but going in and telling our stories and supporting one another, that's the way to go. And that's 100%. What I've been doing. And that's my whole career, as I think about it,
Yeah, it's a great segue into the next thing I want to talk about, because we are at a time of political oppression where our stories are being erased, history is being rewritten, right? How do we, in this time, how do we come together? And Kareem, I want to talk to you about, because you've worked in the studio systems, you're creating your own, like we know that the old studio, you've worked at large institutions. Sure. We won't name them.
I worked here.
You worked at Sundance. We won't get into that, but unless you want to. But tell us about Utopia Studio. And how the voice of Hind Rajab was developed, produced, and how it's being distributed.
Sure. Also, just want to echo, really grateful to be here. This is amazing. I think the last time I was actually in the Muslim House in person was pre-pandemic, and just seeing what you all have built here over the last few years is just amazing. It's phenomenal and really deeply feels like home. So really grateful to be here, and really grateful to be here with all of you. So yeah, as you mentioned, I kind of cut my teeth doing institutional work in the industry. I started out as a screenwriter and producer, but for a lot of reasons, just needed to do institutional work to be able to pay my bills. I was really fortunate to be able to get a job at ITVS. And I was there for 10 years. I, was a supervising producer or consultant on over 100 social issue documentaries. During that time, we produced this series called Future States, which is still so near and dear to my heart, and really informs, I think, a lot of the ways that we at Utopia Studio kind of think about how to tell politically resonant, values-driven kind of stories in a way that travel, the way a lot of social issue documentaries don't. And I think that was one of the big lessons around working within public media and within the documentary space for so long, is that it is really difficult when you're telling values-driven stories through that lens and that medium for them to really reach audiences at scale in the way that they need to. And I, as someone that, you know, again, kind of cut my teeth working more in the fiction space, and you and I have spoken a lot about how like my activism and creative sensibility and so much of your inspiration at a young age also was like informed by comic books, and specifically like the X-Men, and thinking about how like
Wolverine,
the X-Men, like Isa and Iman like are like must be so sick of hearing me say this, but like, you know, like reading the X-Men as a kid, it's like these are like folks that are like fighting for justice in a world that hates and fears them, and like I can't think of anything more Muslim than that. And so, like, that really informed, I think, a lot of my sensibility in terms of, like, melding activism and creative artistry in terms of the things that I produce, in terms of the things that I write, and that our company tries to get involved in. And so after doing institutional work for a long time, I noticed increasingly that there was, like, this very glaring gap that I think we all sort of look at, which is, like, you know, who is funding, distributing, supporting, nurturing, like, really intentionally, like, political stories? And I do the air quotes because, like, I think of political stories as just stories that have like sort of like a values center, like that are about something. I always like to quote this quote that I heard Boots Riley say once when he was on the press tour for Sorry to Bother You, which is like, to make art that is really impactful and really connects with people, you have to care about something more than just like making great art. Like it has to be about something. It has to come from a value space. And so I paraphrase that a lot because I think about that a lot in terms of the stories that we try and support and the ways that we do it and what we develop. And so coming out of my job at Sundance, I was here for 5 years after I left ITVS, was overseeing a lot of grants and labs and fellowships and, you know, trying to be as, you know, impactful as possible to support a lot of storytellers. And when I left, I knew that the next thing that was going to be the most important would be to start a production company. But I really wanted to sort of think of it as like a narrative change studio. Like, how are we actually like embedding impact from the very beginning in what we're doing and all of the things that we're doing? And how do we borrow from the wisdom and research that's been done by like amazing veteran producers? I'm sure this factors very heavily into a lot of the work that you've done. And my dear friend Karen Chen talks about this all the time, which is like the most resilient model of producing is the Slate model. And coincidentally, that aligns really well with everything that we talk about in these like narrative change spaces and narrative strategy and narrative power building spaces, which is like, if you want to actually shift perceptions around a community or around a particular set of issues, you have to actually support like a narrative ocean that audiences can swim in for a very long time. And so we started thinking about how do we raise funds from entirely outside of Hollywood and develop partnerships that are totally independent, and start like building a slate that has sort of interconnected themes. And obviously the ones that are most relevant and resonant with us right now. We started this company in 2024. And so like, we really wanted to be able to sort of talk about the genocide. We wanted to talk about anti-imperialism. We wanted to foster stories that, you know, talked about the various kinds of apartheid states that we're increasingly living in, like right now here in America, right? Just looking at like the apartheid in Palestine is the same apartheid that is happening here for immigrants, for trans people. Like all these struggles are entwined. And if you can find a way through a slate of films to be able to sort of talk about that and unpack it from a variety of different angles, you're supporting a narrative ocean that can really actually make lasting change. And that was our hypothesis as a studio. And so we started developing a lot of works, a lot of genre stuff, as you know, because that's our jam. A lot of like science fiction, supernatural fantasy kind of stuff, because there's such a rich history of like anti-imperialism and supernatural fantasy and talking about the future through science fiction in ways that like get us thinking about how we can impact it in a more positive way. And so we're building this slate, and almost by like accident, coincidence, we found out about Cowther's film right as they were wrapping production. So we came on a little bit later, and you know, we're one of many executive producers that have supported this film, and you know, again, all of them from outside of these sort of traditional spaces. Some of them are in this room.
Some are in this room.
Some are definitely in this room. And so, you know, we like started talking with the producers and doing the due diligence, and you know, very early partners on the project were Watermelon Pictures, like they're one of the executive producers. There's a lot of sort of deep research and like community building and relationship building that the filmmakers had done with Wissam, his mother, as well as the Palestinian Red Crescent. And so the film was very carefully and thoughtfully made in terms of the way that the story was told and the way that they thought about how to do it and do that as respectfully as possible and in keeping with Wissam's wishes for the legacy of how her daughter's story would be able to make lasting change. And the thing that I always try and highlight too is there was a lot of thought put into what does it mean behind the scenes of the film to be able to support the community. And so like, you know, there's a lot of thought being put into like how do the proceeds of the film resource Hind's family? How do the proceeds of the film resource the Palestinian Red Crescent? And so like that was a big like, you know, that was an important consideration for us in terms of thinking about how are we protecting and resourcing our communities to be able to continue to do this work, because obviously safety, you know, takes money.
Amazing.
Safety takes
Yes,
resources,
yes.
right? And so, you know, Kauthar is a visionary. The producing team is amazing. The team behind the project was amazing. And so it was very easy for us to see, like, because of the film is so directly about the ongoing genocide, for us to find a way to support it. And so we helped, you know, put some financing together for the film. We brought on our amazing impact agency, Fourth Act, which is led by Nicole Starr and Amanda Chen, some of whom were in this room. Lobna Hasaidi is working on the film as well. They're fantastic. And we've thought a lot about how do they, as our close collaborators, work not just across this film, but across a slate of films so that we can continue working with these impact partners to, you know, advocate in a lot of spaces to have some real tangible gains from this film and everything else that we're working on. Sorry for the brain
No,
dump.
it's great. It's great. Yeah, just how do you put this stuff together? So it was like financed, obviously independently. There's many producers on it.
Right.
And what does distribution for this look like right now?
Totally. So one of the executive producers on the project is Willa, which is also a distributor. And so they have been releasing the film theatrically. I don't know what I'm allowed to say about what it's gonna do in the streaming space when that happens, but there's additional partners that are gonna come on in that space. That are very values aligned. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, like we are really thinking a lot about how do we, so it's independently distributed, and we're really thinking a lot about how do we thread that impact campaign alongside the theatrical release in a really meaningful way.
And you said something else about like you've created a studio that, you know, puts like impact at the forefront of it. And you, oftentimes I feel like in the industry when we talk about impact campaigns, we're talking about docs. But you're also you're open to narratives. You're thinking about like how do you bake that in early on, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we actually are currently only supporting like fiction films, and I think it's because you know, we're thinking again a lot about like what are the things that can travel the furthest. What are things that have the most sort of like global appeal? Where is there the most opportunity for us to like, you know, generate enough revenue for us to keep doing this work? Like we're a small operation, but we have a little film fund. We're using it, you know, discreetly, and we're finding co-production partners and bringing them on as we go. That's not to say that like, you know, we don't think that there's opportunity for nonfiction films to be commercial, but I think like we're being very strategic about how we start. Most film seems very commercial.
Very commercial.
I haven't seen it, but it looks very commercial.
Deliberately so, yeah.
Yeah. And I think we're also being very thoughtful about like what is the subject matter of the films that we're investing in and executive producing right now and that we're developing, because again, like we want to be really focused around a set of thematic issues that are interconnected, and then find ways for that to expand, because I think there is a way that, and I think, you know, stories about the Muslim community are such a great example of this, because like you can start on a very specific Muslim experience, but then because our community is so intersectional, and because so many of the things that our community is struggling with right now and struggled with like post 9/11 and through the war on terror, the things that like so many immigrant communities are facing right now. I mean, like obviously we're all following what's happening in Minneapolis, right? And that's like an increasingly intersectional problem. And so that's why I sort of talk about apartheid states not only abroad but here domestically, because these things are entwined.
Yep, absolutely. So you guys, something I found really interesting about all of you here, you're all producers, you direct, do other things as well, but you've all also built your own ecosystems in a way. Was that intentional? This is like a
Oh,
question for all
yeah.
of
I
you.
mean, I'd
How
like
did
to
that-
take. So when I got started, one of my mentors was Effie. So this is a huge honor for me that I'm actually on the same panel with her. It was 20 plus years ago. I was at Berlinale Talent Campus.
Remember that?
Yeah, and there were very, very few brown, black, or yellow talents.
It was us, honey.
And so she was one of the mentors that I was assigned to. And so thank you, and this is an honor.
And look at what you've done. Look at
So the reason I bring that up is, yeah, I love, I'm so lucky that I continue to get to make films, and this is my 7th feature, and I also produce. But I think like all of us here, we all wear several hats, and aside from this, I'm also the artistic director of the Severe Film Festival market. And that was so important for me because I think when I was getting started out, just that market experience was very useful for at least kind of connecting with other folks in the industry. But what we started doing was not only did we focus on the projects, I wanted to be intentional even about the gatekeepers and the execs we brought in, who themselves were people of color and were themselves from like different communities. Because that didn't exist when I was growing up. And and I am actually positive, like Ruhi says, that as we've gotten further, some of those gatekeepers are starting to look like us. Some of those white boys are being replaced. So that's great. And I wanted
Look at what you started, Effie.
No, you know what? I love
Yeah.
it. I'm like,
Yeah.
make it so. Make it so.
So yeah, I think
Manifest, conjure.
I think, and to Kareem's point, facilitating that narrative ocean
Yes.
is about building our own ecosystem, right? Like I think it's been said again and again. For the longest time, at least I think we're kind of the same generation. When we were coming up, we were trying to get a space on the table. At a certain point, we're like, you know what, and let's just make our own table. I'm sorry I swear so much.
No, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be right there with you.
And part of that is whether we create our own studios or whether we create our own film markets, or I think that's super important.
Distribution.
And essentially, yeah,
That's
definitely
the real part.
distribution.
We'll go into
Watermelon
that, but, like,
Pictures, Willow.
distribution, you have to.
Yeah, for sure. So, I think the biggest narrative change we can do, and it's something that is, make your own films, but also create pathways for the kids behind you.
100%.
100% on that.
Because guess what? In my 25 years of making films, the biggest people who've been my supporters are my own cohort and my own producers and directors that I've grown up and gone up with. And I've almost encountered and worked with all of you guys here in some different capacities, whether it was trying to apply to grants, ITVS, earlier films, you as my mentor. You...
We won't tell those stories. We're not going to tell those stories.
We can.
Rui and I go to different film festivals around the world.
Leave it at that.
And we pretend to be married. And
Story gets really weird. Go on.
Be careful,
My
your
husband's
husband is
right
in the
there,
audience.
Mo.
He's right there. He's right
He's
there.
cool
He's
with it.
right
Anyway.
there.
I heard at the last festival I was in there.
we have 2 children as well. There's our son. And,
who were calling you daddy and mommy.
yeah.
Wasn't-
So going back to just, you don't need to explain yourself. So yeah, no.
Can I add one thing to what you were saying, Mo, which
Yeah.
I think is really important to underline, because I agree with everything that you said, and I think that a lot of times when we talk about how like the fact that we have to be filmmakers and also ecosystem builders, it feels really daunting. But like, I think there's a lot to liberate you in that because there is agency in actually creating your own pathways for these things, and in a way that like continuously asking for permission to do something is incredibly just emotionally crushing and exhausting. And so like, I know a lot of times it feels daunting to be in this place. We're like, oh, I have to build a whole ecosystem in addition to making this film. And the good thing is, like, no one is the only person doing that. And that's why spaces like this are so important, to be able to sort of do a little bit of cultural organizing and find out what people are doing. But I found we knew when we started, because we were telling political stories, that, like, we're not going to get a shitty cost plus deal at Netflix. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, we have to work with independent distributors and get our stories out in, like, ways that are a little bit more crafty. And, like, I'm grateful that now, like, some of those distributors actually exist and we're working with them, and, like, there's something really liberating in having that agency to do that.
Yeah.
Also fun. Can we just
Totally.
You're like, it's like the Wild West. You're creating your own world of I mean, it's so inspiring just as an artist, even like.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that I love what you said. Like, don't close the door behind you. Like, you guys saw the video that I presented in my intro. That was for my 17-year-old who's going to go to film school.
Great, by the way, if he needs a job.
Well, both my kids are going to be filmmakers, so I feel like that.
Also, they're super amazing. I've worked with both. They're editors. They're all the things. They're amazingly good at it.
Right. So Isa and I have worked on a project, and they were on the project with us. And Isa and I are going to be doing other projects as well. We're packaging some Muslim projects. I feel like anyone who's funders in here, come talk to us, as well as Effie. We have a project that she's gonna. She will talk more about the project that we're trying to package as well.
Yeah, but and I'm sure I'm not going to take one of your questions, but like, I just want to say, like, I love everything that everyone is saying, but I know a lot of you are filmmakers in this group, correct? And I think it's really important to talk about sustainability. Right? And how do we keep ourselves going? Because it's always like, yeah, we get to, like, and I do it too. Like, we have our ecosystem, we have all of that. We got to put on a show, but it's like, how are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to pay your growth? Like, what's happening? And how to make sure that we're able to live while we do that.
I was like, my 17 and 15-year-old want to do filmmakers. I think we made a mistake. I think we made this look too easy.
No, but I'm just saying, but that's a thing, and I just want to, and then I wanted to talk about it a bit about that, but also saying, like, building our ecosystem, and I know distribution. I mean, you're all filmmakers. You're going to figure this out. Distributors eat first, and they eat the most. Yes. So just to be really clear about that. So, like, if I were like, 20 years ago, if someone were giving me, like, what would you say? I'd probably like a distribution company. Or maybe, like, if that, don't you think? I mean, if you had, everyone's like this, like, everyone's like, now y'all looking sad, we're trying to be positive. But just talking about, like, from, like, distribution is really and the access to resources, like collective funding and all of that good stuff. Because I think creatively, God, like, we all have a story, like, God made us all creative, fabulous people. But really being able to utilize that and make that into a sustainable career. That's where I think when people start realizing of, like, oh, it's not working out, or, like, it's anyway, I just think it's important to talk about, like, what else we can do collectively to come together so it can become sustainable.
How do we make it? Please do explain. I've been trying to figure this out for years.
Hi, I'm 50-something years old. I'm still trying to, you know what I mean? I'm like, girl. No, but I mean, and that's what just going back into talking about the collective, and I'm not like, I'm like a military, but, like, I am not like a hippy dippy person. Do you know what I mean? But I do believe in, like, in my years now, I'm like, oh, you know what? How we win is by us coming together and by having, like, a circular leadership and by being able to be like, we have this pot of money. And one thing that culturally, I will say that is specific to all of us, is that we know how to share. And we know how to make a meal out of crumbs. And we know how to, if we all come together with like minds, same value add, and be like, look, you tell your story, I got my vent, you have your gaze, G-A-Z-E, you have your, you know what I mean? Mo's like, what are you saying? Do you know what I mean? Like, but we all have that, we all have our lens. We all have our gaze that we're looking at. And then we're being able to tell our stories, and then it feeds into the fund. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I'm thinking that it needs to be. And also working on each other's movies, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
I just wanted to continue what you were saying about that. I think distribution is super important.
Yeah.
And I'm going to speak very specifically just in the nonfiction realm, although I've done fiction as well, and it's both. I think distribution, of course, we have to create and develop our own audience as well, right? So what you guys are doing, what you do, and also what you guys do, is we have to develop our own audience. And as you know, 20 years ago, or even now, this film is coming out, at least I can tell, many of the brown community people won't necessarily show up. Because they're like, oh yeah, And I get it, because like, let's say you're making a documentary.
Okay.
Or even not a documentary. Let's say it's beyond, it's most probably some film that is centered around trauma or something. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine, because that's also showing a reality. But if all our films are just that, right, then you are capitulating to a Western Orientalist film critic or a gaze. And then I get why the audience is like, yeah, I want to have a good time. I want to like enjoy or have a, go to the, to just, enjoy and myself at the theater, not be, lectured at or being presented as victims and all that. And I think that's the other thing about the ecosystem that I sometimes kind of, when it comes to like grants and impact campaigns, is because they want you to be specifically always marginalized as storytellers and
that
filmmakers.
Is so true.
You're continually making those same stories, marginalized stories. So what I did with this one was be deliberately commercial. I didn't get a grant at all, haha, and we got Universal to back us. Do they know that I'm being subversive? And like, no, they don't, but it's okay.
Did you get notes on the female character from anyone throughout the process?
Huh?
Did you ever get notes on that? I'm really intrigued, like on the female character, because you did put a cop woman in this very patriarchal society. Like she's.
Of
a
course
leader.
I did, and
You
I probably
did.
won't. I'm not going to discuss that here. But yeah,
After
but
the release.
yeah. But I mean, the point is, that is a film that I'm really deliberately aimed to be beyond documentary audiences, beyond even just brown audiences. I wanted it to be as accessible and wide as possible, and that, in my thing, makes it subversive. It also shows us as regular people.
Yes.
As cops who are the head of police, as dads who love their sons. They happen to have beards. She happens to wear a hijab. That's it. Do I need to go more into why? No. And maybe then our audiences and distributors will also potentially be more favorable and make it a more sustainable thing. That's, at least for me, that's been my experience.
You said something in response to Effie's question that I want to underline, which is this idea of like knowing your audience. And I want to take that a little further and say, like, I think it's increasingly important for filmmakers to have a very direct relationship with your audience. Like regardless of intermediaries, right? Like not relying on like social media platforms, not relying on distributors, but like how are you engaging your audience like directly and having a direct relationship with them, right? And so I think, how are you cultivating your own like email lists and things like that so that like, people can actually be directly engaged with you in some way? And how do you have something to offer them over time, because filmmaking takes a long period of time. And so think about, how you can cultivate that relationship, be in community with the people that are watching your films. Because I think increasingly, like I compare the work that I do as a producer to being like a community organizer. And I think, I learn so much by like watching actual like community organizers do their work, because there's so much hustle there. There's so much sort of direct one-to-one relationship in terms of how you're engaging with your constituents, but also just getting really crafty about like what it is that you have to offer them that might be useful. And also thinking about how that can maybe diversify your creative practice. Like a lot of the work that we're... Yeah, I mean, the example that I can give, and this isn't like the, necessarily the best way to do it, but it's the one that I have the most experience with, is like our company also works a little bit in publishing, and mostly just because that's like, I'm a comic book nerd. Like I go to my comic book store every Wednesday for the new comics, and like I still read them, and I'm a lifelong reader. And a lot when I think about like how do you tell like values-driven stories in ways that are kind of commercial or like able to use genre to unpack something in a way that's political but not polemical, because it's sort of like a very different world. So it's not like really sort of making you, trying to manipulate you around a particular thing. I think a lot about comics, I think a lot about genre, and so like we will experiment with things in like prose fiction and comics, and then sort of like build audience for them. Like we have a couple of projects that we're doing. One is an anthology that's a fiction anthology and a graphic novel anthology called Muslim Futures. We're actually launching the pre-order campaign actually at the beginning of Ramadan, so if you want information about that, you can sign up for updates at muslimfutures.space. And that's an example of like a literary fiction anthology that I collaborated with like 15 other Muslim writers on, some of whom are in this room, like Iman, to tell stories about aspirational futures for Muslims in America and beyond. And this was like actually a project that was cultivated by the Pop Culture Collaborative and Open Society Foundations, and also Race Forward's Butterfly Lab for Immigrant Narrative Strategy, which if any of you that are interested in doing like really impact-driven work, like haven't looked up the Butterfly Lab, I would really encourage you to do that, because they, in partnership with Harmony Labs, worked on this toolkit for narrative change that is like really accessible and really amazing. And there's such a deep bench of research that went into it, to the point of the previous conversation in terms of like knowing your audience and what are the narratives that shift their perspectives. They've done a lot of work in sort of identifying what are those quadrants and what are the kinds of narratives that get people to shift their perceptions of immigrants in America. And so we sort of utilized that, did a lot of world building with all these different folks, and like, you know, we're able to get, you know, resources from foundations to like help us do that. And you know, now we're sort of prototyping this project through publishing, and that, you know, is going to equitably sort of like remunerate everyone who contributed to it. And so that's a revenue stream. We're thinking about like, you know, like merch alongside of it, like that's a revenue stream. And so it's just like thinking about all the different places that your story and film kind of might touch, and how do you engage community with it in ways that make them want to continue to support you, both emotionally and financially, and just getting kind of crafty with it. You know?
I love that. Truth. So, yes.
Everybody needs more hugs too.
Yes. But you guys, you know, I know we're keeping it very positive and it's great, but honestly, it is. We're gonna go. Now it's going downhill. Get ready. No, it is hard. We're all diversifying. We're all doing. You know, when somebody read my bio earlier, I'm doing 20 different things, because honestly, being an actor is almost the easiest part of it. It's almost the easiest. Getting a writing job, directing something, making your own things is so much harder. Making a feature film is so much harder. Being an actor is hard, but it's okay. Like, I can do it. You know, but all the other things is so hard, right? So, I mean, and build your own ecosystem. It's so fun. It is hard. But tell me about, like, just real question. You know, this industry's hard, guys. Like, what's been one of your like toughest moments in it? Like personally, professionally. We're gonna come to you last, Kareem.
Okay, good. I need the time to think.
We've all been talking. You go.
No, I love hearing you.
No, I've been through a lot of tough times. But no, go ahead. And we'll talk.
Okay. What was the question?
Okay, tough times.
Sort of tough times. I mean, I guess the beginning, was really hard, like with Box Office Guru Media. Like, I think that it wasn't all roses, right? Like, you're in the industry for 25 years, and you're just hustling all the time. And like you said, we're all multi-hyphenates here. And, you know, for me, while I love Box Office Guru, I love the marketing work, it does go hand in hand. We work with all the distributors. I do think that, yes, we need a distribution company to, like, have that arm with the marketing. We're able to you know, reach those audiences and those communities, and that's why the distributors hire us. But it's not like everybody wanted these stories for all those 25 years. I think that it is growing, and I'm trying to be positive. My kids are the next gen, so that's why I'm trying to stay positive. Like, I think that my son being queer Muslim and like just like really owns his sense of self. I just like love that, you know, and I really I just think that the future is bright. The kids are all right, you know. I know I'm supposed to like talk about a problem though, right?
No, I'm like, I want to put you like, I want you to be like in my little, on my shelf at home. I can just look at you and be like, is everything gonna be okay? I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, okay. No, I love it. That's great. I mean, do you want to go?
Oh no, please go ahead.
So I've had a long career. I have a long career, and I'm very excited to still be in it to win it, you know? And I've come up as a line producer where there were, like, not a lot of, like, people of color line producers, especially no black people or women. And, you know, a lot of people don't like to have a woman tell them what to do, and certainly how much money they have to spend. So like, my whole career has been through challenges. But I've gotten stronger and better and smarter from every single one of them. And they've been brutal. And I'm looking at you because, like, if you are coming up, like, it's hard out there. People, like, if you're a woman of color, they're going to come for you. And sometimes it's really disheartening when your own comes for you. And I think we need to talk about that a little bit too.
Yes,
do you know what I mean? Of like,
Yes,
you know what I
we
mean?
do.
Like we call it family out there, like we're all together, but inside we're like, sometimes y'all come for our throats. You know what I mean? It's true. So like, and that's been, that was a very disheartening time where there's been women and women of color of like, are you really like? I was looking at this person, waiting for him to do me wrong, and that has happened. But we have that saying, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So that is something, but they are still my community and my ecosystem, and like one bad one is not going to like turn me away from everybody, but like it's painful, Another thing, and I'm not going to get into like the whole story of it, but I was on a show, 5 minutes till Q&A. I'm going to wrap it up. She's all like, she's still talking. No, I'm just messing with you, girl. No, but I was on a show called Project Greenlight, and then it went, you can watch it, who cares? So, but like at the end of Project Greenlight, there was a moment where I was blacklisted, right? For being, I will call it from being black and a woman and doing my job, number one, okay? But it was interesting, like it was really tough, and like there were memes made about me, and I'm already insecure, as you can tell. Like, I talk really fast and a lot. But what was beautiful about that moment is that the black and brown community on Twitter and outside came to my defense. And there's people who were like, hey, that happened to me. I was on set, and I knew that I was right, and so-and-so and so-and-so told me no. Or like, I didn't get that opportunity, although I was the most qualified. Like all of those things. So it was really sort of publicly humiliating. Embarrassing to have to go through a lot of that, but to have that happen and have people be like, oh, that happened to me, and they'd be like, oh, and that to me, and I'm going to wrap this up, where I was like, you know what, like if it's happening to all of us, like what if we all just came together and was like, in famous words of Mo, F you, you know what I mean? Like, you know what, like we're going to stand 10 toes deep and we're going to be in it together and we're not going to accept it anymore. So anyway, so that's like my tough story, but like the why, like, but it turned out
But on
well.
the other side of it, it's what
And
you do with it.
consistently, right? Don't you? I'm sorry, I'm looking like, don't y'all have that? I know you're positive. I know everything good happened in your life. I know.
Really, I'll give you this positive, but I'll tell you guys all the like not so great things
Over a
afterwards.
drink.
Over drinks.
Okay.
Mo, did you want to share something?
Like I'm sure all of us, I've had incredibly tough times, and everything from being banned several times to getting death threats. Well, that has to do with a lot of the content that I make, but and then being passed over specifically because of who I am as a person of color, right? And rather than being what they want to be, And although I was very, very qualified for many specific projects or show running positions and things like that, that's not to say I didn't eventually get them. I did, obviously. And I think, despite all the hardships, I think one of the best qualities, and I think all of us have, is resilience.
Yes.
And so I would say that's the big takeaway to all emerging filmmakers is resilience. You're going to get smacked and beat up so much, but get up.
It's
Dust yourself
how
off.
you get up and what
And
you
then-
do with it.
Yeah.
100%.
Walk it
What
off,
you do
walk
with
it
the
off.
next thing. Yeah, look at it as an opportunity almost. What can I do next? What can I do differently? How do I get to that next place?
And how can you
Yeah.
help someone not go through the same BS that you went through?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really
Keep the door
like
open,
being a
yeah.
grown-up.
Leave the door open.
Yeah.
I have to say that's something really unique about all four of you, and I've worked with some of you, and I'm getting to know the rest of you. You guys have that spirit where you are, but there be people in our community who don't. And I love that like people who are coming up right now. It's like amazing. I mean, I see like young people in their like 20s, even in their early 30s right now. People are really like giving back. Yeah. Right? And that wasn't a thing. Like I feel like even 15 years ago people were like, "Oh, I got through this door. There can only be one of me, and that's that. You can't come through."
Well,
And
I do love that about the younger community, that there isn't as much this culture of scarcity where we can only be one.
Yes.
And I didn't want that to happen once, I reached this stage. And so that's, working in like making like the Tasveer Film Market or even my thing at the Academy is specifically like, no, we don't need to be the only one. There can be a lot of us. And what I also love about this younger generation is they lean hard into where they're from and their cultural things. Whereas when we were growing up,
It's like erase all of that. Just
yeah,
be
no,
white.
just be milk and toast and
Proximity to whiteness,
Yeah, like just blend and don't disrupt and don't make too much noise. Don't behave yourself. And I love that these kids are not. It's beautiful. So yeah.
Like you said, you're like,
I mean, my kids are 17 and 16 and both going to be filmmakers, and I really do believe in them. I really do believe in the next gen. I think that I learn every day from my kids.
That's
so,
great. I just have dogs.
Kareem, we're waiting to hear from you.
I mean, I don't think I have too much to add. I feel like they've, all three of my fellow panelists here have expressed so powerfully, I think, like a lot of the things that so many of us struggle with, and also how we move through them, and particularly in a values-driven space. I think the only thing I think I would add is just that, like, it's the things that are most difficult for me, I think, are just like finding space and ways to be creative, like when you're like living through like a real like fascist dystopia. It's like the world is like makes it so difficult to like think creatively and think aspirationally. And I think like, when you personally or your community or your family are like in direct like physical harm like at any given moment, and it feels like the walls are kind of closing in from so many different angles, like it's really difficult to be an artist. It's really difficult to be creative. And so like just want to like name that in the room, and that is something that I think so many of us struggle with. And I think I and a lot of other people were here like talking with a lot of emerging filmmakers yesterday, and I think like that was something that kind of came up a couple of times, this idea of like, I feel like the need is so urgent for me to like make this work and try and be impactful, and like the urgency that we all feel to be able to impact the world in some way through our work is like very, very real. But like don't forget that like the world also needs your best work, and your best work only comes when you're taking care of yourself. And like I struggle with this every day. Thank you. I say this as many times as I can to remind myself as well, because I don't always practice this. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. I will.
What do you do for self-care?
I mean,
it's Q&A time. We get in trouble.
It is.
She's getting in trouble.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Last thought before,
I mean, I meditate a lot. I have to exercise. I have to hydrate. I have to sleep. Especially here. Like I'm literally carrying a thing of moisturizer in my bike. It's like it's dry up here. Take care of yourself, and just like things move at the pace that they need to move in, and like you can't artificially sort of accelerate things. Like I don't know. So just
can I just say, like, no job in the world is as important as your mental health and your peace. Walk away from things that are not serving you. Really. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, we're gonna open this up to Q&A now. So anybody who has questions, yes, please go right ahead.
Really inspired by the important work. I'm Kareem from Kareem number 2, I guess. Film for Good Fun.
2 out of 10 in this room.
I know, right? I might be 7. I don't know. I think we're trying to strategize on how the social sector could all get on the same page for this coalition that you're talking about. I think like, what's the next best step when we leave to like get the social sector to tap in with their resources and get on the narrative change that you all are pushing?
That is so wonderful. And this is where I will plug in. No, I can say between like, and I mean this, and I think for all of us to talk about our companies, we really, I am literally building a collective film fund that is working with different companies to come together to feed off of a general fund. So I am looking for, and I'm going to be very little mercenary, like we're looking for people that are able to finance and to finance this, but I'm also looking for people that are like, I'm your narrative. What'd you call it? The narrative ecosystem? The narrative ocean. There's so many things I'm going to steal from you. I'm literally like the creative diversify. Like,
it would be an honor.
But that's what I'm saying. I love all that. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's a thing. And then I also feel that like a Muslim house, like you guys have like a Sue Obeidi. Like I'm looking. Where does she go? Anyway, like I think that's where I think that you need to let us know where you are, and then I would love to get to know people who are who are down for the cause. But I'm like, but I'm going to be really about it. I don't want to just talk about it. I'm too grown. I'm being about it right now. And I'm old enough in my career, to take a few hits, you know what I mean, to make it so. And that's why we're going to work with, right, girl? Okay, good. Okay.
I
Keep going.
To add to that, I think that definitely, I think that we're looking, my Russo Film Collective is really just me and a bunch of people that want to put money together for projects. Like the guys that I'm with, Mo's met them. And you've met them too. No, so is Isa.
We're going to meet them again. We're going to do that, okay?
They're all like startup guys. They're not film guys.
It doesn't matter. We can do a little with a lot.
Yeah, and I think that if you're just interested in film, you're interested in making a difference, come into the collectives, and like put money where your mouth is, to be honest.
And also the collectives can make money. And that's also want to say that there's nothing fabulous in being broke, being an artist and like, you know what I'm saying? Like we all should be living high off the hog, or not hog. Sorry.
100%.
Right, wrong place. It's not it's not black church. Okay, I'm sorry. We like the hog. Y'all are different. Sorry. We ain't do no hog. Sorry. Okay.
Nice.
You're like
nice.
wrong place, sister. Wrong place. See, I told you I'd mess up.
Awesome. Okay, great. Yes, please. Yes. Do you have a question? Yeah.
I have kind of a statement and a question. So to talk about the narrative ocean and the financing ocean that exists, I come from a place of government. I'm also a filmmaker as well. So I'm with Film Mississippi. So I just want to remind everybody in this room that jurisdictions have money and that ultimately they're investors in your films. Yes. So don't forget that. And just because a place like Mississippi seems like somewhere you're like, do I belong there? Well, I'm the head of the film office there. So
I'm going to interrupt just for a quick second. I did a movie there called The Inspection with Nina, and we just got back $893,000 from our tax rebate.
Woo!
And that was and you killed it. And I'm just saying, and Mississippi is fabulous. Just want to high five you.
Thank you.
And Mississippi, yeah.
But so I don't know where this is going to go. So if these videos, but I have a personal interest in this too. It's not just my work. It is my personal interest to tell stories that are from all places in a place that you don't expect to tell them. Mm-hmm. So don't forget that. Come to us. Come to the South. Yes. Come. I'm not just saying Mississippi. I'm not just saying, it's everywhere in the world. We're all there. I'm one of the few that look like the people in this room in a government position. Please come to us. Yes. We want to help. I want Mississippi to be known as a place that does embrace it, because it does. And if we can change the narrative in Mississippi, we can change it anywhere. Trust. So I want to help you do that, and you help me do that.
Excellent. High five.
Thank you. Are there any more questions, you guys? Yes, please go right ahead.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum to everyone.
Alaikum salam.
That feels so good to say. You carry it around, so I'm appreciating this safe space, the safety of the space. Oliver Stone once said that if he knew then what he knows now, he would only hire people that he likes, that are not jerks. You can teach everything else, but you can't teach people how to not be a jerk. My name is Shia Shabazz Smith. Effie Brown, I followed your career forever. But at this big age, I've protected my children, raised them to be great. How do we, because there is so much magic in this next generation coming up, for those of us who are reclaiming our time, how do we find the space? Actually, I had two questions, sorry, there's that. How do we find the space and the connections that are welcoming of those of us who are seasoned? And if you knew now if you knew then what you know now, what would you change?
Go. I'll go fast, but you go. No, go ahead. Talk a lot.
I mean, I get. I always have this thing where we always have a vibe check. Like, I really don't like working with people that don't like working with me, And if you feel like the vibe's not there, I end things. I'm just like, we're done, So I feel like that. I was just talking to a producer out there before. I don't know if he's in the room right now. but we were just like, oh my goodness, there's so many things as a producer that you want. And like if you're going to spend with somebody with a project for a couple of years, like you have to like get along with them. So, you know, vibe check people.
Yeah.
One thing I would say is don't wait around, because you guys, a lot of you are young filmmakers, don't wait around seeking to get permission or a grant or anything. Just begin making the film in any way, whatever you have, even if it's with your cell phone, frankly. Just that sheer momentum will, A, perfect your story and your craft. It'll also attract the correct people with you to kind of propel you towards your journey. That has been the case for almost all of my projects. And no one knows better than you how to finance your film, how to distribute your film, how to market your film. And no one will care about your film as much as you do. So don't ever make your baby and leave it in someone else's hands and just assume that they're going to do the best. Whether that's, you know, a small boutique distribution company or if it's a full-on studio, they don't care as much as you do. So that's one thing for sure.
Okay.
Co-sign to everything that Mo just said. That deeply resonates with me too. And I think just to expand on something that Roy, you were saying, along the axis of the vibe check, I do something similar, which is just like, I think about when I'm engaging with potential partners, like where's the values alignment and how do you talk about that before you start the process? Like I think it's really important to have discussions, particularly if they're gonna be like really central partners that are like core collaborators. Just make sure you're managing expectations with them around like how you, like what your values are and how those are gonna really practically and tangibly manifest in terms of the making of the film. Like if you're like, I'm not gonna be extractive with my production crew, for example, just use an example, and like that's how this manifests in terms of what our production schedule is gonna look like. And like I'm not gonna change that. That's a non-negotiable for me, or whatever it is for you. But like I would just be really specific about that and manage those expectations, and that'll help you gauge values alignment with whoever you might want to work with.
My quick thing is, and this is where I'm going to give you $1 million idea. Someone needs to come up with a Tinder or a Hinge or a Bumble for people, for crew folks, to put people together. Like, no, it's
Call
true.
the tech bros.
Directors,
Yeah.
for producers and that, because it's like, I'm
the
a little...
lifestyle.
That's what I'm saying. That's what someone should do, to be like, oh, you would match with this person or don't match with that. Because I've done enough movies to be like, oh, you're not my type of person. You're her type of person. And I'll say this, and I thought I heard something of like someone coming back in. Everyone's like, emerging filmmakers, young people. And I love you, young people, you're lovely. But I'm looking for someone who's coming back in. I'm looking for the woman who's been in HR that is coming back. And Christine was like, girl, no. But like, you know what I mean? Who's coming back into the workforce. Because I think if you have someone who is grown and running something, it trickles down. And then that's how the young folks know how to act and how to behave. So I'm all for that, and I actively look to hire them.
That's amazing. Okay.
Is she telling us to stop? Okay.
No, we
Oh,
just
yeah.
have. Okay, we'll just take a couple more questions. Yes, please, right here.
Hi, thank you all for your insights. You spoke about finding your audience, and then Kareem, you mentioned controlling your own distribution, and kind of building that out. And I was wondering, how do you decide whether your, say, indie feature is like a direct-to-consumer, going down that route, or the traditional path? And then also, could you elaborate a little bit on building your own distribution? You referenced like email lists, et cetera, et cetera.
That's a big question. I want your backup on this.
Yeah, I got you. High five. Okay, sorry.
So sorry, what was the first part of it?
How do you know?
Decide between, say, like your direct-to-consumer model versus going the traditional route?
Yeah, I feel like that's informed by the answer to the second question, right? In terms of thinking about just like, what are the economics around making your film? Like, I think you have to be able to, you know, like, it depends on what your budget was going in, right? And like, what do you feel like is a reasonable return that you would get for different distribution mechanisms? And so like, I think as a filmmaker, like, you have to be sort of a student of like, you know, comps are constantly changing and box office like grosses are constantly changing, and like, you know, the market obviously is shifting so much on a day-to-day basis, and so much contraction, and so I think you just have to be a student of like, what are the most relevant comps like for this moment for my film, at the budget level, within the genre, like for that particular distribution mechanism, and then that will help you kind of determine like what the viability is for the distribution strategy going in. And so I think it's like about understanding what is your audience, and then sort of figuring out from there, like, how can you make that money back, as opposed to like through direct to consumer versus going with an independent distributor. And then I have other thoughts on like how to build your audience, but I would really love to get your thoughts on this, because you've been doing this
for a long time.
forever.
My quick thought is, like, a lot of times people glamorize box office and being in a theater. It's not so glamorous because, one, not as many people see it as you think are going to see it, and you will not make as much money as you think, because for the first dollar, the theater gets 50% of it, and then the other 50% goes to a distributor who'll take 100, whatever. Like, it's hard to care about. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'll never see a dime. Do you know what I mean? But everyone hopes that they're like the breakout thing. For me, when I talk to filmmakers who are coming up, I'm like, do you want people to see your movie? Or do you, like, what do you want? You know, and most people are like, I want to see my movie. Then I'm like, you know what you're going to do? You're going to go streaming. That's what you're going to do. And learn to love it. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone needs to learn to love it. And then that's where there's, like, other marketing and there's other grassroots so people know about your movie. You can eventize. But that eventize, like, have a couple of theater or something like that, so you can feel fresh and, like, have a little red carpet, whatever. But really, if you want to grow your name and grow your movie, I personally feel that it's streaming. And I also feel that people need to get on these platforms. Do you know what I mean? And we're not talking about verticals yet, but like I think people need to, what do you call it? Like, not direct to consumer, but if you're going to self-distribute, if you're on the YouTube, help me out. Thank you. Someone being like, here's $5, I want to see your movie. And
like Kinema. Kinema does that.
Like watermelon pictures.
So Kinema does that.
Yeah. Yeah, but can I also just say, I feel like the most film, we have a film that we released together in 2023, the most number of people who have watched this film has been on airlines. I get randos from Brazil, from whoever. I mean,
randos, those are your fans, girl.
I'm gonna call you up.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm
you better
serious.
put some respect.
Wait a minute.
Put some
Iman
respect
got a
on that
manager who watched it on a plane and looked her up, called her up and said, I want to work with you. Put your films on airplanes, people. I never thought I would say this, but I'm serious. More people will watch it than you'll ever know. I have grown-ass women watching this, sending me videos of themselves crying, telling me how much they connected. It's like people watch that stuff, but streaming and that. 100%.
Also, look up Kinema. Kinema's great.
Kinema's great, yes. Okay, we're going to take maybe one more question if there's one, and then wrap it up. And if there are none. This is great. Let's go eat, friends. So we're gonna.
Thank you.
I think the takeaway for me from this panel is get your thing done, make the film, and also build your community. Yes. Thank you so much to all of our panelists here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Muslim House.